So when a company dives headfirst into AI, it hits this major fork in the road. And as you can see, it's a huge choice. Are they going to use that AI to build a bridge to their customers? Or are they going to build a wall for the sake of efficiency? Today, we're going to break down these two totally different playbooks and what they really mean for all of us. All right, just a quick heads up. What we're talking about today is part 7 of a big 10-part series. It's all based on a really deep research report from Virtualization Options LLC. We're zeroing in on the customer experience side of things, but believe me, the full report covers the whole shebang, from how it affects employees all the way to financial performance. Let's just start with a question I think we've all screamed into our phones at some point. When you're trapped in that endless robot phone menu, or you're trying to reason with a chatbot that clearly doesn't understand English, have you ever just stopped and thought, is this thing actually here to help me, or is its real job to avoid me? Well, that feeling, it almost always comes from this first path we're going to look at, the efficiency first, or as the report calls it, the shareholder-focused approach. And here, the number one goal of AI isn't to make you happier. It's all about aggressive, hardcore cost-cutting to pump up the returns for investors. This right here, this gets to the heart of the conflict. The research is crystal clear. For any issue that's complicated or, a little emotional, something like 90% of us, a huge majority, we just want to talk to a person. But the reality of that shareholder-focused world is that you're often shoved down an automated path whether you like it or not, simply because paying a human costs more. So what does this actually look like? It's what the report calls the automation playbook. And the main goal here is what's known as deflection. They use AI chatbots and these ridiculously complex phone menus not to solve your problem, but to actually block you from ever reaching a real person. They just keep pushing you to self-service portals, which really just shifts the work from their payroll onto you. And the end result of that whole playbook? A jaw-dropping 45% of customer interactions with these companies demand a ton of effort from you, the customer. Just let that sink in. Nearly half the time you have to contact them, you're signing up for a frustrating, time-sucking ordeal. And you gotta understand, that's not a bug, it's a feature. It's the direct result of their strategy. Okay, now let's flip the script and look at the other side of the coin. This is the relationship-first or customer-focused approach. And in this world, AI isn't a cost-cutting tool. It's an investment in making the customer connection even stronger. What's so cool here is how they use the exact same kind of technology, but in a totally different way. Instead of replacing people, the AI is there to augment them. It's like giving your customer service agents superpowers. As you can see, we're talking about things like customer intelligence platforms that give them your entire history in a second, sentiment analysis to pick up on frustration, and even recommendation engines that suggest the next best step to actually solve your problem. This quote from the report just nails the message these companies are sending to their own teams. It's not, hey, a robot is coming for your job. It's, hey, we're bringing in AI to handle all the boring, repetitive stuff so you can be the hero for our customers. I mean, that is a night and day difference in philosophy. So, okay, we've got two completely different ways of thinking. One is all about efficiency. The other is all about relationships. But which one actually delivers the goods for the business in the long run? All right, let's look at the hard data. This 4-year chart tells you pretty much everything you need to know. For the customer-focused companies, you see that satisfaction score just steadily climbing. Their investments in relationships are paying off. And the shareholder-focused path? It's a steady, sad downward slide. Those early cost savings come at a steep price, customer happiness. And it just keeps getting worse over time. And how about actually getting your problems solved the first time you call? Well, for customer-focused companies, that happens 81% of the time. Pretty good. For the shareholder-focused ones, it's barely a coin flip at 52%. That massive gap represents millions of headaches and frustrating follow-up emails for customers. It's pretty simple, right? When you solve people's problems and treat them with respect, they stick with you. The customer-focused companies have an incredible 94% annual retention rate. That is a fortress of loyalty built on a relationship that people actually value. Now, look at this. These shareholder-focused companies, they only keep 84% of their customers. Now, that 10-point gap might not sound like a catastrophe, but when you compound that year after year, it is a massive bleeding wound of lost revenue and market share. And this goes way beyond just keeping customers. It's about turning them into fans. The Net Promoter Score, which is just a fancy way of measuring if your customers would recommend you to a friend, is a sky-high 67 for the customer-focused businesses. For the shareholder-focused ones, it's a measly 23. So one approach creates an army of advocates for your brand, and the other creates an army of detractors who tell everyone they know to stay away. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? Let's connect all these customer outcomes to the real ultimate impact on the business, because the long-term consequences here are absolutely profound. At its very core, it boils down to this. The shareholder path creates transactional relationships. You're a support ticket, a case number to be closed as cheaply and quickly as possible. The customer path, on the other hand, builds deep relationships. You are a person, an individual, whose long-term happiness actually matters. And this all leads us to the financial mic drop moment, customer lifetime value. The customer-focused approach doesn't just keep customers, it actively grows their value over time by 25 to 40%. The efficiency at all costs approach, it actively destroys customer value, shrinking it by 15 to 25%. All those short-term savings are completely vaporized by the long-term value destruction. It's just bad business. So the next time you have to interact with a company's AI, just think about this. Is that piece of technology building a bridge to you, trying to understand you, to serve you better? Or is it building a wall designed to keep you out, to create distance and frustration? The answer to that question tells you everything you'll ever need to know about what that company truly values.